everyone, my name is Jen Holt. I'm here at home to bring you a home chair yoga practice. So before we get started, I just want to say that everything that we do here today is optional. I invite you to always do the things that feel best in your body. So if you ever need to take a rest or sit something out, or if something that I'm suggesting isn't working for you, then feel free to move in a different way or do whatever that you need to do to take care of yourself. The most important piece here is that we're practicing self-care and taking some time to support ourselves. So you'll notice that I'm here in a chair without arms. That's really the easiest for our yoga practice, but if all you've got is a chair with arms, then I encourage you to use what you have. Don't let that stop you. Just do your best. And if you feel like they're getting in the way, just do your best. It's okay. So let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of centering here, just to help get our minds and our bodies into our yoga practice and ready for a little bit of movement. So you may notice I scooched forward a little bit. This is so that I can get the soles of my feet flat on the mat, and I'm bringing my knees and my ankles into alignment. It doesn't have to be perfect, just looking to see if you can sit up a little bit taller, looking for a little bit better alignment. Thinking about lifting up through the top of the head. If it's available, you can roll your shoulders up, back, and down. We have this tendency to round our shoulders forward, so we're just looking to create a little bit more space in the chest. You can allow your hands to rest anywhere that feels good for you. That's not so important. Just allow your arms to rest a little bit. You can allow the eyes to close if that feels safe and comfortable for you today. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's great. Just see if you can bring your eyes, your focus, your gaze to one point so that the rest of the world can start to fall away. The goal here is to start to bring our awareness inward so that we can become more in tune with how we're feeling in the present moment. We tend to be so focused on what's going on around us that we're not always aware of what it feels like to be in our bodies. So we're just going to start to bring that awareness inward. A good place to start is noticing the points of contact with your body and an object. So the feet and the mat or the floor beneath you, the seat and the chair beneath you. If you have your arms or your hands touching something, you may notice that connection of the hands to your own body or on your chair. Feeling all those places where you feel connection. Noticing what that connection feels like. You may have a sensation of warmth. You may have a sensation of heaviness. See what you feel. Check out those connections. And we're going to start to observe the legs. Taking your awareness up the legs, just noticing what you feel. Noticing if you feel muscles engaging. And are you able to relax them and stay in your seat? Scanning a little higher up to the lower back. Checking in there, seeing what you feel. If you notice there's lots of compression on your lower back, you might see if you can lift the top of the head a little bit higher and just notice what that does. We'll scan awareness all the way up the spine, noticing the length and the strength of your back body. Scanning the front of the body, noticing how open and spacious it feels. Feeling the shoulders softening down away from the ears as the arms relax a little bit more. Feeling both sides of the neck long. And all the muscles of the face smoothing out. feeling that space between the teeth as the jaw relaxes. Feeling the muscles around the eyes starting to relax a bit more. Now from this point, we'll start to bring awareness to the breath. Without looking to change it or monitor it in any way, we're just going to start to watch it. Noticing if it's fast or slow. Noticing how deep or shallow it is. Noticing how much space in your body the breath takes as you inhale. How much expansion do you feel? And then as you exhale, noticing that inward movement of the body. Taking full breaths in through the nose, perhaps inviting in just a little bit more air. And releasing the lungs fully as you exhale. Allowing each breath to be full and complete. Deep breath in. And complete exhale out. We'll take just a few more breaths here, trusting our bodies to take in the right amount of air that we need. As you're ready, we're going to start to bring awareness back to the room. If you have your eyes closed, you may choose to blink them open. Nice job. Let's start with a little bit of movement through the arms and the shoulders here, just to wake the body up a little bit. So on the next inhale, we're going to start to bring the shoulders up towards the ears. And as we exhale, we'll bring shoulders down and around. Inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, down and around. Let's continue moving with breath, so you can move as fast or as slow as you like. Just checking out to see how it feels to move your shoulders today. And noticing how when we move our shoulders, we may be feeling sensation through the chest as well as the upper back. Let's do 2 more in this direction. And then at the bottom of your next exhale, we'll allow those shoulders to soften down away from the ears. On the next inhale, we'll circle arms around and up, reaching up. You can take your gaze up if that feels okay on your neck. And on the exhale, we're going to bring hands to heart center. If it feels okay, you could allow the gaze to follow the hands. So we're getting a little bit of a stretch on the neck here too. Inhale, arms come around and up. If you like, the gaze can start to lift. Skip that if your neck doesn't like it today. On the exhale, hands come to the heart and the gaze may follow the hands if that's appropriate today. We're going to do 3 more like that. Inhale, arms come around and up. Exhale, hands to heart. Moving with your own breath now. Inhale, lift. And as you exhale, release. 1 more at your own pace. Once your hands meet the heart, we'll take a pause here. If it feels appropriate for you today, you can start to press the hands together a little bit, waking up those muscles around the arms and the chest, the upper back a little bit more. If this isn't appropriate for your wrists, you'll want to skip that. Make sure you're sitting up tall. See if you can lengthen the top of the head up, kind of like you wanted to touch the top of your head to the ceiling one day. Nice job. This time we're going to keep our palms together. And on the inhale, we'll start to reach fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands come back down. And your hands may not lift as high as mine. That's okay. Just doing whatever you can with your movement. If it doesn't feel good to press hands together, you could also take fingertips together, or you could separate the hands completely. Let's do 2 more. Nice job. The next time the hands are at the heart, this time we're going to take fingertips to point forward in front of you. So I'll give you the side view. It looks like this. Then we're just going to take hands out in front of us and back into center. Fingertips reaching forward and back into center. Remember your modifications here, so you can have fingertips touching if it doesn't feel right to have the palms pressing together, or you can have your hands separated. That's okay too. Let's do 2 more, whatever variation you're doing here today. The next time the hands are coming toward the body, we'll rotate the fingertips back up and then rotate them forward. Rotate fingertips up and forward. 1 more, rotate fingertips up and forward. This time we're going to rotate fingers up, and then we'll see if we can bring fingertips toward the heart a little bit. If this doesn't work for you, skip it. Bring fingertips up and forward. Or up and, yes. And then back up and in toward the heart. Any amount. Your mobility may be different from mine, and that's okay. We're just working within our own bodies, doing what we can do today. So we're getting a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a workout on our wrists, our forearms, even the upper arms and shoulders come into play a little bit here. Let's do 1 more. Remember, if it feels like too much today, you can skip or rest. And then we're gonna rest the hands back down onto our laps. We'll get into the spine a little bit more here. So we're gonna work on our seated cat-cow pose. So I'm going to scooch up because I realize I'm back in my chair a little bit. So you can have your hands wherever feels good, on the knees, the thighs. Doesn't need to be anything too particular or specific there. We're going to start to focus on the spine. So on the inhale, we're going to see if we can lift the chest up. And if it's available to you, you might think about squeezing those shoulder blades together. The gaze is either going to be forward, or if it's okay on the neck, you can take the gaze up. Think about lifting the heart up, so we're creating an arch through our back here. Then on the exhale, we're going to reverse that, so we come back to center, and then we round our back, and we tuck the chin. Inhale, chest lifts forward and up. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Gaze is wherever feels right. Then on the exhale, we reverse, round. You can tuck the chin if that's okay for you. Let's do about 3 more at your own pace. So you can start exploring moving with your own breath, just checking it out, seeing how it feels to move your back body today. We'll do 1 more. And then at the bottom of this exhale, let's find that neutral seat again. So sitting up nice and tall, let's work on our posture a little bit more. So dialing it in a little bit here. So when we're seated, if we want to take care of our spine and our hips, here's the posture that we want it to look for. If we can bring the shoulders over the ears over the shoulders, I should say. I think that's usually means typically when we sit or stand, we tend to do this kind of thing, and I do it too. That puts a lot of pressure on the neck. So we're just going to see if we can bring the head back a little bit to find a little bit more alignment with ears over shoulders. Once you've got that, we're going to check in with the shoulders again. Are they rounded forward, and can you bring them up, back, and down? See how much space you can create through the chest here. It may even feel like a little bit of a stretch if you're used to rounding a lot. Check in with the lower back. Make sure you're not dumping weight down. See if you can sit just a little bit taller, lifting up through the spine. So this is an active upward lifting movement. It's one of the movements of our spine. Next, we're going to check in with the alignment of the shoulders and the hips. So what tends to happen for lots of us is that we tend to do this forward movement, Sometimes we lean back, but check in and see, can you notice what's happening there? And can you bring the shoulders so that they're over the hips? Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just looking to see if we can straighten up just a little bit. That's going to be healthier for our spine. This is how we take care of our back body. The last step when we're seated is paying attention to what's happening with our legs. And I know our legs tend to be more important when we're standing, because really our foundation when we're sitting is here on the hips. But it's important to pay attention to what the feet are doing, what the legs are doing, because depending on how we have our feet can influence what we're doing with our spine too. So what tends to be most supportive is when we have these 90-degree angles in our body. So when we have ankles and knees aligned and the legs are strong here. I'm pressing down lightly through the feet to help find a little bit of a lift through the spine. There is one last little piece that I skipped on the pelvis. So I'm going to turn to my side so we can talk about that just a little bit before we move on. So this is the other part where our posture tends to go awry. And I will say it happens for me too. And this is what I tend to do. Can you see what I'm doing with my lower back? I'm coming into what's called sway back position. And for some of us, this is really common. For others, we may tend to do something like this a little bit more, where you get a little round in your lower back and you're sitting on your tailbone. We know, although we don't have tails, we have this little tailbone that comes out, and we don't want to be sitting on the tailbone. That's not too comfortable for our spine, and we don't want our spines in this sort of C shape. Where we want to be is right about here. So we're not trying to straighten out the lower back. There's a natural curvature that happens here, but we're not trying to push the belly forward. So there's a little bit of a balance there. A good place to check in, if you can feel your sitting bones. We have these sitting bones underneath us, kind of in the middle of our glutes or our bottoms. If you can feel those, if you're on a hard surface, you might be able to feel them. If you're on a cushy chair, you probably can't. If you can feel your sitting bones, you can think about being on the middle of your sitting bones. So you may notice if you can feel your sitting bones, you're able to kind of rock forward and back and you can feel the bone. So if you can find the center of the bone, that's proper alignment. If you can't feel your sitting bones, another thing that you might think about is the alignment of the pelvis, so that the pubic bone is in the front and the tailbone is in the back. We're not sitting on our tails or pushing the tailbone back behind us. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect today, but just thinking about finding a little bit of alignment there in our pelvis, it's really important, especially as we age. We want to take care of the pelvic floor, right? So that's part of our pelvic floor maintenance and care routine, is finding that neutral alignment, not sitting back or forward in the chair, if that makes sense. And if anyone has any questions on that, you can leave it in the comments and I'll come back to that. So now that we found our neutral seat, or just thinking about it, getting that alignment, let's find a little bit of spinal movement from here. So on the inhale, we're going to start to circle our arms around and up. On the exhale, we're going to take a little bit of a twist. So we're going to bring the right arm forward in front of us, and the left arm can start to go back. If the back of the chair is in your way, modify. Gaze can be forward or back, whatever feels good on your neck. But here's what's important. The hips are neutral and the spine is long. Stretch up through the top of the head. On the next inhale, we're going to reach both arms up, and it's okay if your arms don't come up. Maybe your arms are here today. That's okay. Take a big breath in, sit up tall. Then on the exhale, we'll take our twist to the other side. So we're going to bring the left arm a little bit more forward and the right arm a little bit more back. Remember, we want to try to keep those hips in that neutral position and the spine long. And I know that's a lot of work, right? So we're going to try it again. Inhale, arms come up. Any amount is okay. Exhale, let's twist. Right arm comes forward, left arm comes back, any amount. Inhale, we're going to come back to center, arms lift up. Exhale, left arm comes forward, right arm back. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twisting toward your left. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, twisting to your right. Inhale, let's bring those arms up, one more breath. Then on the exhale, we'll bring the hands down. Nice job, lots of work. Let's take a little forward fold to bring the heart rate down after those faster movements. So on the inhale, we're gonna sit up nice and tall. Think about lifting up out of that lower spine. You can allow your hands to rest knees, thighs, or whatever else feels good. When you exhale, we're gonna take the chest forward. So notice, as I'm coming forward, I'm hinging from here, not from my back. It's okay if that's what you've got today, but if you can think about leaning forward from the hips, we'll get a bigger stretch through the glutes and the hamstrings, which tend to be really tight, especially if you find yourself sitting in a chair a lot. If this isn't available, it's okay to allow your back to round. Just check it out and see what you can do. If you found yourself in a deeper forward fold and you feel like you'd like to go deeper, you can work on sliding your hands a little bit further down the legs. You might find your lower leg, your ankles. If you're really flexible, you might even be able to bring your feet down to the floor. Not so important how far our hands come down, doesn't matter. What's important is that we're taking care of ourselves and honoring what our bodies want to do today. If it's available, you can allow your head to hang heavy. You can shake your head out, yes or no. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Then when you're ready to move on, we're going to come on out of this. So let's bring the hands to the knees or thighs. And on the inhale, we're going to squeeze the abdominals as we rise. That's going to help protect the spine. That's important. All right, let's get into those legs a little bit. We worked last week a lot on the upper body and the core, so let's work a little bit more on the legs today. So we'll start with our simple, I say simple, but they're not always so simple, are they? I'll start with our heel lifts today. So this is a good one to help build strength through the feet and the legs. When you're ready, we're going to start to press down through the toes to lift the heels up off the mat. Now here's the trickier part. Coming down, we're not going to just drop the heels down. We're going to use our muscular strength to lower the heels down slowly. A little bit more work that way, right? Lift the heels up, press down through the toes. Feel the balls of your feet pressing down. See if you can feel that pressure. Feel your calves on the backs of the lower legs squeezing up. We're building strength there. Then when you're ready, we're going to lower the heels down, but we're not going to drop them down. We're going to go slow. This is how we move. This is how we build with strength and move with control. Let's do that again. So we're going to lift the heels up, hold them up, squeeze them, press down through the balls of the toes. And notice how if you press down through the balls of the toes, you can activate even muscles on the upper leg. A little bit more challenging, right? Now we're going to lower them down, but we're not going to drop them down. We're going to go slow with control, using our strength. Nice job. Now let's get into the legs a little bit more. So this time, actually, I'll mirror you. Let's start on the right leg. So this is going to be here. So when you're ready, we're going to start to extend that right leg out, kick out through the heel if it's available, flex the toes toward the face. Then on the exhale, we're going to slide the foot back in. Nice job. Let's do that 3 more times. So we're going to kick that right heel out, flex the toes toward the face. Then on the exhale, we slide the heel back so the sole of the foot meets the mat. 2 more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come back in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come back in. Nice job. We'll move on to the left. Extending the left leg out, kick out through the heel. My heel is resting down. I'm flexing the toes towards the face and my leg is pretty active. On the exhale, I'm going to bring it back to that starting point, bringing my sole of the foot back onto the mat. We'll do that 3 more times. Kick out through that left leg and then bring it back in. Kick it out and bring it back in. 1 more. Kick it out and bring it back in. Nice job. Let's move back to the right. We're going to add on a little bit. You can keep your heel down, or if it's available, you can practice lifting your leg up. A little bit more challenging. So this time, we're going to pick the right foot up, kick it out. The heel is off the mat. If you want to lower it down, do so. Then we're going to bring it right back in. Let's do that 3 more times. Right foot kicks up and out. Maybe you keep it extended as you bend it back. Tap it down if you need a rest. Nice job. Let's do 1 more. Kick out through the heel. This time we're going to hold here. Keep that leg kicking up, but see what's happening to your shoulders. Sometimes when the leg comes forward, we start to round that back and shoulders come forward. It takes a lot of strength to stay lifted upright. Pull the belly in, and then let's release. Let that go. Nice job. 1 more side on the left, building those strong legs. This is important for our balance and mobility, right? Important work. So we're going to pick up the left foot off the mat. If it's available, keep it down if you need. Extend the leg out. The heel may be lifted. You could bring it down if you need a rest, or you'll bring it right back in. Bring the left heel out and back in. Bring the left leg out and back in. That's the last one. This time we're going to hold. So we're going to kick that left leg out. Notice what's happening to your spine here. We're sitting up nice and tall. Lots of strength through the body. You can hold on to the sides of the chair if you need. 1 more breath. And then let's relax, release, let that go. Whew, that was a lot of work on the legs. You might give them a little rub. Nice job. Let's give those legs a little stretch here before we move on. So starting with the right, we're going to extend the right leg out, but this time we're going to rest the heel down. You can keep the toes pointed away, or you can work to flex the toes towards the face. That will give you a bigger stretch. The right sole of the foot will stay on the mat, or if you'd like a little bit of opening through the inner thigh, you could play with allowing the knee to move away a little bit. If that's not right for you, skip that. On the inhale, we're going to sit tall, and then you choose. You stay lifted, or if you'd like a deeper stretch, you can fold forward a little bit. We're just going to hold here for about 3 more breaths. So you take your fold to where you want it to be today. It could be deeper, or you could be lifted up. It doesn't matter too much. Just do what feels good for you. On the next exhale, let's come on out. So we're going to come back up. We'll bring both soles of the feet back onto the mat, and then we're going to move straight to the other side. So left leg kicks out. It's up to you whether the toes are flexed towards the face or not. You can have a bigger little bend in that knee. The right foot is either going to stay on the mat, or you can invite that right knee to move out a little bit. That'll just give you a little bigger stretch through the inner thigh. You may also feel it on the outer thigh and toward the glute, depending on where you carry tension. We're going to sit up tall to start, and then you check it out in your body. If this is enough of a stretch, if you're already feeling a big stretch, you'll stay where you are. If you want more sensation, you can start to lean forward. And remember, it doesn't matter how deep we fold. The goal is not to deepen the pose. The goal is to deepen our awareness of our body. So don't push past what feels good. Just do what you can today. With practice, it all gets easier. On the next exhale, let's go ahead and come out. So if you folded forward, you'll start by coming back up, and then we'll bring both feet onto the mat. Now we're going to play with a little bit of marching for the legs. So this is the important part when we start here, is we want to pay attention, like I talked about, with that back and the core. So our back body is supported by our abdominals. We want to keep our abdominals tightly engaged to help support our back and to help maintain this posture. This is important. When we hunch over and we do our exercises, we're not able to engage the core, so we're not getting that strength building, and we could be doing ourselves some damage on our back. So as much as you can, remember it doesn't have to be perfect, but as much as you can, we're gonna try to sit up tall and see if we can find those strong abdominal muscles. I know you may be saying, I don't have abdominals, I don't feel them, but you do, we all do, you have them. Whether you can identify with them today or not, they're in there. Think about firming up your core, whatever it means for you, whatever imagery that you can come up with to help you find that. Think about holding these muscles in. So from there, if we can find a little bit of tension here, we're going to start to find a little bit of marching movement because we need this engagement to keep our body neutral, right? So you can use your arms. If your arms are tired today, you can just focus on the legs. We're going to start by lifting that right knee up. You can take the left arm up, and guess what? When we use opposite arms and legs, we're working this big muscle between our ears to our brains. So let's switch it up. So the right foot comes down, left elbow comes back as the right arm lifts, left knee lifts, right? So it's just like a march, but we're in a chair. The difference is we're not rounding our back. We're not hunching over, right? Tall, long spine. So you can start to move at your own pace here as you're ready. Your movements may be smaller than mine. You may be taking a little baby march. That's okay. You might just be focusing on your legs today, just with the legs, keeping the arms down, or even holding onto the chair is a good option. If you're up for it, you can try those bigger movements and get the arms involved. When we get more muscle groups moving, we're working on burning more calories, building more strength. Also, like I said, we're helping to keep our minds active. This is important, right? We want to keep our minds and our brains active. Nice job. Let's do 2 or 3 more to each side at your own pace. I always lose count, so just do your best. 1 more each side. And then we'll rest. Whew, that was a lot of work. Think about sitting up nice and tall. Let's bring the heart rate down a little bit with another forward fold. You can keep your feet together, or if you'd like, you can step them apart a little bit to give a little bigger stretch on the thighs and the hips. Sit up tall. On the exhale, you can start to find your fold. Remember, hands can stay in the lap. If you've got your knees out a little bit wider, you might like to bring elbows to knees. Or if you want to fold forward deeper, you can take your hands down the legs. For those of you that are really flexible, you might be able to bring your hands between your feet. But remember, this isn't the goal. The goal is to get into our bodies, to become more aware of what it means to be inside our own bodies. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Nice job. On the next exhale, or as you feel ready, if you're still folded forward, we're going to start to come out of that. So if your hands are all the way down, let's bring them to the knees or thighs. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to come up. Remember, we want those abdominals to help us as we lift, to help protect our spine. Once you're lifted all the way up, if your feet have stepped apart, we're going to step them back together. We'll work around the hips a little bit more here. So I'll give you some options. You can do hands-free, or you can use your hands to assist. We're going to start by bringing that right knee in again, but this time we're going to start to make circles. Yeah, and at first, this seems really simple, right? But then if you keep moving, and if you challenge yourself to make bigger circles, and that may not be right for you today, then you'll start to realize pretty quickly, ooh, this is getting pretty tiring. We're stretching and strengthening all those muscles around the hips. So guess what? This is going to help us to take those big steps instead of shuffling our feet when we walk. Yeah. Let's do 2 more in this direction. If you're still with me, rest out if you need. I know it's super tiring. Whew. Now, guess what? We did one direction, so we have to do the other. Give your leg a little rest, a little rub if it needs. When you feel ready, we're going to try to go in that other direction. Ooh, do you remember which direction you were going in? Challenging our brains here, right? So just pick a direction. If you end up going in the same one, it's okay. You got a 50% chance of getting it right. Remember, you can make your movements bigger or smaller than mine. That's okay. Let's do 2 more in this direction. And then when you feel ready, this time we're going to see if we can step that right foot out to the right. I'm going to land my foot on a dog here, so I'm going to make my own adjustments. So this is sort of the alignment, and actually I'll turn to the side so that you can see from the side view. You don't have to turn to the side, I'm just showing you from the side view. So ideally, this is our warrior 2 in a chair. So ideally what we're looking to do is we still have the upper body in that neutral position. I just had to make a little adjustment of my hips because I tend to do this. Yeah. Sitting up nice and tall. So there's some engagement of the core to help with that. And then we're getting this nice hip opening as the right knee comes out to the right. Yeah, so we're going to notice if your back is starting to round. If you want to activate your legs more, press down through the feet, and notice how if I press down through the feet, almost as if I wanted to stand up, my body gets a lot more workout. I can feel the muscles of my legs firing up. The last piece, if you want to try it, is reaching out through the arms, reach out through the fingertips, and feel your shoulders softening out. Now, if it feels okay, I'll give you an option. This is just optional. We want to take care of ourselves. I'll give you an option for a little bit of a neck movement. If it's not right for you to move your neck today, you'll skip this and stay where you're at. So on the next inhale, we're going to turn the gaze over toward the right fingertips only if that feels okay, and only as much as feels okay. We're not forcing anything in our bodies. Then we're going to come back to center and take the gaze back to the left hand behind us. Inhale, come forward. Remember, move slow with control, and then toward the right, back through center, and to the left. If this doesn't feel right, skip it. Let's do one more so you can start to move at your own pace here. Nice job. Let's bring the head back to center, and then we'll relax the arms down. We'll step that right foot back into the center, and we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So you can bring the left knee up. Remember, you can use your hands as much or as little as you like. It could be one hand, both hand, or no hands. We're just going to start to make circles with that left knee. And remember, the important thing to pay attention to here also, what's happening with my spine? Is the core engaged? Are you starting to round the back? Because this is getting so tired. Sit up tall. Rest the leg if you need. Nice job. Let's do maybe 3 or 4 more in this direction. Move at your own pace. Go as big or as small as you would like. Ooh, I got a pop in my hip. Did you get any of that? Sometimes there are pops or cracks, right? And then let's go ahead and rest that down. Give it a rest. Whew. Give it a little rub if it needs. I know all those muscles that we may not have used in a while are getting a little workout, right? So we moved in one direction. That means we need to go in another. When you're ready, sitting up tall, we'll see if we can take the knee in the opposite direction, whichever direction you were moving in last time. And if you're not sure, remember you got a 50-50 shot to get it right. Just pick one and go with it. You're going to work the muscles either way. You're going to do good work for yourself, so it doesn't matter. Just do what you can. Ooh, I know my leg is getting tired. Let's see if we can do 2 more. If you're tired, rest out. Ooh. And then we're going to step that left foot out to the left. So I see I'm going out of frame a little bit here. This setup is just the same as last time. So again, I'll turn to the side so that you can see the side view a little bit here. And I have a dog laying here, so that's why I'm modifying. My foot is on my dog. So again, long, tall spine. We're not pushing the belly forward or sitting back through the hips. Long, tall spine. As we take this left knee out, we're getting this nice hip opening, right? You might feel it on the outer hip. I feel it more in the inner. Whatever you feel is okay. If you want to activate your legs, you'll think about pressing down through the feet. Remember, we want that core engaged to protect the spine. And we're sitting tall. The last piece, if your arms aren't too tired and you want to do it today, is to reach out through the arms. If that's not for you today, there's lots of other options. You can bring your hands to your heart. You can rest them down, whatever you like. Let's try our movements of the head again. And remember, if this doesn't work for you, we want to take care of our neck. So move slow. If at any point it doesn't feel right, then please stop. Take a big inhale, sit up nice and tall. On the exhale, we'll take the gaze over the right fingertips or any amount to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, over to the left. Back to center, over to the right. We'll do one more. If you're still with me, if this doesn't feel right, then please skip it. As you're ready, we'll bring that gaze back to center. We can rest the hands down, and we'll take that left foot back to the center. Nice job. We've got a little bit more time. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge today. If this doesn't work for you, please skip it. We'll work a little bit on our chair pose. So I'm going to give you an option seated in the chair, and then we might do a little standing option too. So I'm going to turn to the side a little bit so that you can see. So this is what we're going to do. You can bring your feet in just a little bit. So my heels are in a little bit from my knees here. We're going to sit up tall. Engage the core. I know we've been doing a lot of that today. Is it getting tired yet? If not, pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. Tighten this up. Think about zipping it up like a little zipper. Then what we're going to do is lean forward. This is still tight. My back is still long and strong. Now I'm going to press down through the feet and see if I can lift the hips up today. Maybe not. Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe you're just leaning forward and pressing down through the feet and nothing comes up off the chair. That's okay. You're still building strength, right? So what we're doing here, we're building that strength that it takes to get up and down from the chair. Sometimes we take for granted what a big movement this is and how many muscles come into play. We're using our legs, our feet, our core. So let's try it again. If it's too much today, if you're tired, rest, please. So have your hands on your knees or your thighs. Sit tall, core engaged, whatever that means to you. Pull your belly in, firm it up. Then we're going to lean forward a little bit. This is still firm. This is still strong. Press down, strongly press down through your feet. Feel the muscles of your legs. Press, press, press down. Maybe you can lift your hips an inch today, and then we'll bring them back down. Now, if you lifted your hips, did you plop it back down when you came down? I know, it's hard not to, right? But we're gonna try, if you lifted the hips, we're gonna see if we can come down slow and light without making a noise. I know, it might be impossible today, but we're just gonna try, And as we try, we build strength, right? So it doesn't matter the results, we're just gonna give it some effort. Sit up tall, hands on the knees or thighs, pull that belly in. Come forward, press down so strong through those feet. Those legs are so strong. Lift the hips up any amount. Now slow, 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 slow. Bring them back down. Whew, that was a lot of work. Let's try it one more time. Just one more if you've got it in you. Lean forward, belly is strong, back is strong and long. Press down through the feet. Those legs are so, so strong. Lift up the hips. And then let's rest them down. Nice job. Good work today, everyone. Let's give that belly a little bit of a stretch because it's been doing a lot of work for us. And if you're not used to working your abdominals, it can get really tiring pretty quickly, right? So when we stretch the belly, it actually starts up here. This is where the front of our body starts when we're going to stretch, right? So we're going to start. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down. You might even see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit. And notice just by doing that, I already feel a little tiny baby stretch in my belly. Maybe you can feel that too. Then we're going to see if we can take the hands a little further back behind us. So they might be along the sides of the chair. you might be able to find or hold on to somewhere behind or beside on the side of the chair, or maybe even back on the back of the chair. Now, once you've got that, you can think about lifting the chest up. And as we lift the chest up, then this gets stretched a little bit more. The last step, if you don't have enough of a stretch yet, is you could lean forward a little bit, and that stretches out the arms. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades together and lifting the chest up. Let's take one more breath here. Then on the next exhale, let's come back to that natural seat. Beautiful. Let's work on our spinal movements again. So we're going to move through our cat-cows, those movements that we started with. So on the inhale, we're going to start to lift the chest up, coming into that abdominal stretch again. But as we exhale, we're going to round the back and tuck the chin. So this is great at building mobility and flexibility through the spine. Our spinal flexibility is so important. You may have noticed this if you've ever injured your back or been in a place or time when you've been really stressed and you felt a lot of tension in your back. And notice how hard it is to move around and how difficult it is just to do everyday activities when our spine is tight or tender. That's why it's so important to take care of our spine and also to keep those abdominals strong, because that's part of a strong back, is keeping our abdominals strong. All right, let's do one more if you're still with me. And then we're gonna rest in our neutral spine. We're gonna open up the side body a little bit too. So this is still working on the spine and the core too, but now we're working a little bit more through the side body. So you can rest your hands or bring your arms by your sides. So we're gonna start by noticing our spine, right? And make sure that you're sitting tall. We're not rounding the back or pushing the belly forward, right? We're looking for that neutral spine, sitting tall. The shoulders are up, back, and down. This is always important, and we're lifting the top of the head. Now you can allow your hands to rest in the thighs. This would be the gentler variation, or you can choose to allow your arms to sort of hang heavy beside you. I kind of like this variation because as I allow my arms to hang heavy, do you feel that you're getting a little stretch, a little release on your shoulders? You might be able to identify that. If this doesn't feel good, then rest your hands back down. Now, we'll start with the right hand. We're gonna take the right arm around and up, reach through the right fingertips. Then as you exhale, we're gonna take a little side bend. And what happens if your arm can't reach all the way up? Maybe you're out here somewhere. Then you can rest that hand down, but I can still take the side bending movement. On the inhale, we're going to come back up, and if the right arm lifted, we'll float it down. Then we're just going to do the other side. So left arm comes around and up. Reach through the fingers if you're able to get the arm up. If this is too intense on the shoulder or the arm, you can bring your hand down. Then on the exhale, we'll take our side bend, moving the head a little bit more to the right. Inhale, come back up, float that left arm down. Right arm comes around and up. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, rising up. Take a breath. On the next inhale, left arm comes up. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, we rise up. Exhale, float that left hand down. Nice job. Let's rest the hands on the knees or the thighs. This time we're going to take both legs out straight. So what you might notice that you need to do as you take your legs out straight, you might need to scooch up in the chair a little bit in order to find straight legs. But here's where it gets a little tricky. So when we scooch up forward in the chair and we're able to get the straight legs, sometimes that means we don't have very much of our seat left in the chair. So we want to make sure that we're safe. So if that means that you're not able to straighten the legs as much because you need more of your seat on the chair, this is more important than this, okay? But if it feels safe, you can scooch up enough so that your legs can extend a little bit more. If you want a bigger stretch on the backs of the legs, you'll work on flexing the toes toward the face and sitting tall, because what's happening in our back will reflect how much of a sensation or how much of a stretch we get on the backs of the legs. If we round the back, this is going to take some of the stretch away from the backs of the legs. So just by sitting tall, we can get a bigger stretch. If this is not enough for you, if you would still like more stretch on your hamstrings on the backs of those legs, you can try leaning forward a little bit. But keep in mind, we want to be safe. If this feels unsafe, if you feel like you're going to tip out of your chair, if you feel your heart rate elevating a little bit because it feels exciting to be in this position, come on back, modify. You might feel less of a stretch, but you're going to feel safer, and that's important. Let's take 2 more deep breaths wherever you're at, whichever position you're in. Then at the bottom of your next exhale, if you leaned forward, we're going to come on up, finding that neutral seat, and we'll bend the knees back in. Let's slide back into our chairs. Well, I'll give you one more option for a little hip opener here, because I know our hips tend to get really tight, particularly if you find that you sit a lot. So we've been doing a little bit of hip openers. If it feels available, I'll give you a few options. Actually, let's start on the right side. So we're going to take the right foot, and you might be able to bring that ankle to the left knee. If this isn't working for you, if you're not able to get the ankle to the knee, or if you are and then you find that you're in pain or this does not feel good, then you're going to bring it back down, and you can cross at the ankles. You can still allow the right knee to open out a little bit, so you're still getting some hip opening here, but you're in a comfortable position, right? If you're able to get your ankle to the knee and your knee is lifted up pretty high, then what you're going to do is just think about relaxing the knee down. And it may not happen today, but one day it will, right? If it's available, you can flex those right toes toward the right knee. That's going to help protect your joints. Think about sitting up nice and tall wherever you're at. The last piece would be to take a little forward fold. If you want, that's going to deepen the stretch. So if you start to come into a forward fold and you find that's not working for you, or it doesn't feel good, or it feels painful, then you'll come back out. Modify as much as you need. We're going to hold here for a few more breaths. And while we're here, let's talk a little bit about how we're nourishing ourselves today. What did everybody have for breakfast? Did you have a good balance of protein and carbohydrates? Were there any fruits or vegetables mixed in there? As a reminder, we want to get a good balance of carbohydrates, proteins, plenty of fruits and vegetables, lots of color on our plate to keep the nutrition up. And I know sometimes there's lots of confusion when it comes to carbs and protein. What's the right amount of protein? What's the right amount of carbs? I know this can be confusing. The short answer is you want to go with your doctor's recommendations, because there are lots of different reasons that a lot of us have different requirements in terms of the right number or the right percentage of protein and carbohydrates for us. But for what's true for all of us is that we want to try to take in less of those. Well, we've got 2 different kinds of carbs, right? When we think of carbohydrates, we've got the simple and the complex. So we want to limit the number of simple carbs. Let's go ahead and switch up our legs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So whichever variation you were doing on the right, you're just going to move over and do the same on the left. So remember, if this didn't work for you, you'll cross at the ankles. The knee is lifted up a lot. That's okay. You'll just think about bringing it down. One day it'll happen. You don't have to look like me. You just have to look like you. That's it. If you want to lean forward a little bit, you can lean forward. So once you're back in your position, we'll resume our carbohydrate conversation. So what's a simple and a complex carbohydrate? So the simple carbs would be the things like the candy bars, the packaged and processed foods. Then we also have carbohydrates, and not all carbs are bad, right? Because we've got things like peas have carbohydrates. Peas are a vegetable. They're green, they're colorful. As vegetables go, they're pretty healthy. They've got not only carbs, but they also have a good amount of protein and iron. But if all we're eating is carbs and we're not getting enough protein, that means we're not getting those building components for our muscles. And especially as we age, we want to think about having enough building blocks to keep our muscles strong, right? We don't want to lose all of our muscle mass. So thinking about balancing out your plate, paying attention to what you're taking in, and always going with doctor's recommendations. On the next exhale, let's go ahead and come out. Ooh, nice job. The knees were bent for a while, so one more time we're going to come back to our straight leg pose. So you can start to extend the legs out straight if it's available. You can flex toes toward the face. If you want to try a different variation, you can try separating your feet out a little bit, so we're getting a little bit of a wide leg variation. You can stay seated up tall. You can try a little forward fold, but remember, we want to stay safe here. I'm very limited on the amount that I can fold before I feel like I'm going to fall out of my chair. So remember to take care of yourself there. On the next exhale, let's go ahead and release from here. So we're going to slide the soles of the feet back onto the mat. We'll step the feet back together, and let's start to find a little bit of rest. So we're going to take our seat back into the chair. We've got just a few more minutes, so we'll rest our bodies, but now we're going to come back to our minds a little bit. So we're going to do star, fist, beak, claw pose, which some of you may know. So I'm going to hold my hands up so that you can see what I'm doing. In fact, I'm going to scooch up a little bit closer to the screen so that you can see what I'm doing. But you can stay seated in your chair. You can do this with your hands resting down. If your hands are tired, you can even just do this in your mind, right? All right, so we're going to start with starfish hands. So we're just going to stretch the hands out nice and wide. Then we're going to bring our hands into fists. And then we'll make a claw. And then we're going to make a beak by bringing fingertips and thumb together. We'll do that a little bit faster. Star, fist, claw, beak. Star, fist, claw, beak. Star, fist, claw, beak. One more. Star, fist, claw, beak. Double time. Star, fist, claw, beak. Nice job. Let's shake the hands out a little bit. You can shake the arms. If it's available, you can give the legs a shake. Shake out all the stress, all the tension. And then we're just going to allow ourselves to rest back, completely back on the chair. You can allow your legs to come out a little bit wider if you like. You can allow your hands to rest, palms up, palms down, arms by your sides, whatever feels good. Chin could rest toward chest or stay lifted. You could start to close the eyes if you like. And we're just going to start to find a little bit of a deeper sense of relaxation. Starting to let go of effort. allowing all the muscles of the body to relax. We need this balance of effort and ease, and we need this time of rest. See if you can allow it for yourself. We'll move through a short little breathing practice just to help our bodies relax. On the next inhale, we'll see if we can inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, pause, exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. We'll return back to our natural breath. If you liked counting the breath, you can continue with that. See if you can allow the muscles of the body to fully rest. All the work is done. Now is the time to come into our bodies and acknowledge ourselves, acknowledging all the hard work you put in for yourself today. Acknowledging your muscles and your joints. Acknowledging the you that lies beneath your physical body, beneath your breath, beneath all your thoughts and emotions. Acknowledging your true self. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Just starting to bring awareness back to your body. If you'd like, you could start to find movement in fingers or toes, ankles or wrists. On the next inhale, if you choose, you could find a big stretch from fingers to toes. On the next exhale, we'll come back to our neutral seat. If you choose, you can bring hands to heart, perhaps taking a moment to bow your head to your own heart, thanking yourself for taking out this time for your own self-care. We'll take one final breath together as we inhale, filling the lungs, taking in all the benefits of our practice. As we exhale, letting go of anything that isn't serving us here and now. Namaste, which means the light in me sees and acknowledges the same light in you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. If anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them for me in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. See you soon.